Hack and slash games are some of our favorite types of games. Games where you can just sit, relax, and basically just kill everything in sight. I'm sure everyone watching now can name a few of your favorite hack and slash games, but more times than not, those are paid. Free hack and slash games are a bit harder to come by, and most, if not all, free ones out there are less than ideal. Usually they're pretty buggy, short, or just downright bad. Well, we've done the research and found some actual good titles for you to play if you're a fan of this genre. So here are the best free hack and slash games that you can play right now on Steam. Starting off this list, we have Warlander, which is a multiplayer hack and slash MOBA that apparently a lot of people compare to a game called Happy Wars, which I've never personally played. Anyway, you can play with an army of up to 100 players. There are various different classes like a mage, a warrior, and things like that. Lots of stuff going on your screen at once. The game does suffer a bit from a low player count, and some have voiced their issues with the game, things like bad performance, cheaters, and a lot of bots. Either way though, it's free and the game is actually pretty fun, and it doesn't hurt to give it a try.
Tiny Survivors is technically a roguelike, but it's in the hack and slash genre. If you are a fan of games like Potato, Vampire Survivors, and even Soulstone Survivors, then you will enjoy this game. It's very simple. You pick a weapon and try to survive the incoming waves of enemies. The farther you go, the more money you will earn. You can then use the money at the end of each wave to buy a new weapon, or even upgrade your existing weapons. It does get a bit hectic, especially since the arena is extremely small. That's really the only gripe we have about this game, because the limited space can get you killed very easily. If you buy the right weapons and use them correctly, then you won't have any issues. Each run is randomly generated, and the weapons you get are also random, so each time you go through a run, it will be different from the last. If you don't want to pay for any of the other action roguelikes, then this game might be a good choice if you want to chill for a couple of hours. What makes this game so cool is that the game is extremely easy to learn and run.
Although this game can be a battle royale, and many people play the BR mode, don't get fooled. King of Crabs is very much a hack and slash game. You don't have to play the BR mode either. You can play the PvE or team-based modes, which get pretty crazy. The game kind of reminds me of Crab Champions, if any of you watching have ever played that. Although that game is only a roguelike, the style, overall feel, and well, obviously the crabs all feel very similar. Both are great games, but King of Crabs is free. It could be a mindless game at times, but I feel most hack and slash games come off that way. Oh, and before I forget, I do want to mention that the game does require a consistent internet connection, which I'm unsure why, but thought I'd point that out. Anyway, really fun game, and if you like crabs and hectic gameplay, you should try this one out. Gladio and Glory is a hack and slash, but with a ragdoll twist to it. The game sort of reminds me of the VR game Gladius in some ways, although not as brutal. It's not really a massive game or one that I can see myself or honestly anyone else dumping hundreds of hours into, but it's still fun. You can simulate various different battles, even fighting against massive hordes of enemies. You can also level up your gladiator, so there's a bit of progression too. For me, I get pretty short with games that have ragdoll physics. I more so like games with tight controls and fast response times, but I know there are plenty of you out there that would like this sort of game. Definitely, it's worth giving a shot.
Undecember is another one of those Diablo clones, but that's not a bad thing. If you are tired of the other action RPGs, then you can go check this game out. There isn't any classes in the game, so you can use whatever you find out in the world. You are free to use magic and melee, or any other combination that you like. The skill system makes so that you can change up your build whenever you want. There is a character creator in the game that is pretty decent, but it isn't as good as other RPGs like it. The game itself is pretty fun with its combat, so it is definitely worth checking out if you enjoy this type of genre. The story itself isn't super interesting, but has some pretty good moments. It is also an MMO, so you can play with your friends if you want to. There's also a ton of endgame activities to do if you beat the main story, so there's always plenty to do in the game and keep you busy. Do keep in mind that there is a shop that you can spend real money in, and the game has a ton of pay-to-win aspects, so don't go into it expecting to PvP against people who didn't spend any money on the game.
Hanako is a samurai hack and slash game that's multiplayer. You and up to 24 other players go into various maps, fighting tons of different enemies. I think the main highlight for this game is the fighting styles and classes. There are 4 classes: the swordsman, ninja, archer, and spearman, all of which are very unique in their fighting styles and stances. The combat actually surprised me. Albeit a little clunky at times, it was surprisingly good, and the game is super fun. Just mowing through tons of enemies utilizing your class's unique fighting style is great. Sometimes it's hard to find other players online, but you can also play with bots. The bots are pretty bad at the moment, but it's not too big of a deal. I really enjoyed this game. Great gameplay, great music, really fun, and has a lot of potential. Possibly one of the more impressive games on this list, Expedition Agartha, is a first-person hack and slash game that is also an extraction shooter. So honestly, I was kind of surprised to have found this. It's honestly super unique. When you think about extraction shooters, usually you think of games like Tarkov or something, but this one has magic and you fight mystical beasts and different things like that. It's honestly such a cool concept. Oh, and you can play this with friends too, so that's a bonus. You fight, loot, extract, and level up. It's pretty simple. Game looks and feels great, and honestly, the game is super underrated, so make sure to check this one out.
Dungeon Mage is a dungeon crawler that has some unique aspects to it. The game is community driven, so the players give feedback as to what to add and the developers get it done. It is actually a very cool system. The game itself is also very fun, but can be frustrating when you first start playing. You slowly explore the different locations and start to understand how the game works. The combat is pretty simple, and that's what makes this game fun. You get a sword to defeat the enemies and a pickaxe to gather materials from the dungeons. You have an attack button and a dodge button, and it is up to you to figure out how to outmaneuver the enemies and make it to the next room. You also have limited inventory space, so you need to manage it carefully. It isn't a roguelike since you don't have to restart when you die. You get to keep all the materials you gathered, but it does take more material to enter the harder dungeons, so try to survive as long as you can. The graphics are very nice to look at, and the gameplay is very smooth. If you were looking for a fun dungeon crawler, then go check this game out for yourself.
Asgard's Fall Origins is a roguelite 2D game where you mow through hordes of enemies, upgrading and leveling up as you progress. And I gotta say, the leveling up is really the highlight here. There are so many different options and upgrades available. It was really fun exploring those. The combat is also great here, lots of slashing, obviously. You know, this game reminds me a lot of Vampire Survivors, but it's free. It's got a lot of replayability, and overall the theme is great. I love the music, the way the game looks, and again, the progression in the game is excellent. It's a great hack and slash game, and you can tell the developers really put a lot of love into the game. We really recommend checking this one out. Well, that's going to be it for this video. We hope you enjoyed this video and found some great free hack and slash games. Let us know down in the comments below which free hack and slash games we missed. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.